So what Christian was asking on the Directrix, it's that other line. So y equals negative p, that's that line. So what you're gonna see is that everything is equidistant, having to do with distance formula from yesterday. So you got something in the middle, having to do with midpoint from yesterday. So the vertex on all of these is halfway between the Directrix and the focus. See how that works? And then the focus is equidistant to everything on the parabola. Okay, so those are P's, like I said, that look funny to you and you can't read. Finding the P is going to be our hardest part. So it's not really going to be very hard. It's just all this looks so foreign, like Tyler said to us in the beginning.
I saw that from Christian.
Credit to Christian.
Is the vertex always gonna be 0, 0?
No, but today it will be. But you know, we did parabolas the first semester. We moved them all around the world.
Makes sense.
Good. See, you already did it again. Just had to stop and look at it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Forget that Egyptian nonsense.
What's a funny joke?
When we get this chart copied and finished, on the next page, I kind of summed it up just with some,
Well,
I think the next page makes more sense, I guess is what I'm trying
the
to say.
x squared equals 4py. That's it.
Well, normally, our standard form of a parabola is y equals ax squared plus b. So, I mean, it's just like if you were to flip it, put the y over here, and then solve it for,
So it's 4a.
no, we're not gonna have an a, b, or c. What I'm trying to say is you could say if x squared equals 4py, y would equal x squared divided by 4p. So that would be how you would plug it in your calculator, but you would have a numerical value for p. All those p's are gonna end up being numbers for us.
Okay.
What does P stand for?
The point. B98.5.
Well, it's most closely related to the Directrix. Most close, that'd be the easiest way. The- B98.5. That point's 94.1. Right?
I don't know. Think so. I don't listen to the radio except at Christmas time. Cause I like Christmas music.
Ms. Cox said we were having a lockdown now this week.
I didn't know if we were supposed to tell.
Oh.
I guess she thinks we are. I don't know, they didn't say don't tell, but
What?
Friday.
It's Friday.
And I think it's during this class, I think.
She said it was at 9 o'clock, so like our second period would.
Friday. So that'd be good, cause since we're such a small group.
Mm-hmm.
It says
Alright.
-4.5.
do, since you asked and y'all know, is we try to stay as far away from the window. We gotta shut our Chromebook so you can't have light from it, you gotta make sure your phone's not showing any light. And then, a plastic table is not gonna do a whole lot, but it's better than nothing. So we will flip the tables up over you, so like lay them so you know, so you're sitting on the floor with the table in front of you.
What was it?
Yeah, I remember in one class, it was like, kinda like this layout.
Yeah, we're all
We
against
got
it.
there and then we held up like a fake wall.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. And there's few enough of y'all that we
I
can do
remember I
that.
was holding the safety scissors for if the guy came in.
Safety scissors.
Oh, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you.
Alright, everybody got that page ready for the next one? The next one to me is more useful, but I did want you to get that one to see the relationship between the directrix and the focus.
Never
So-
had one thing in notes take up half a page.
Alright, so definitely get this down. This is the most useful. To me, you might not agree.
It's 9:12.
That's what I said, you just don't like for me to be right.
What is it?
Get this one, get this page down.
Oh.
So you wrote most of that down on the previous page, this is just a simpler way to organize it, I think.
Is the focus, is that 0.8?
Peas, or peas. Peas there, Christian. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's on the beginning. Four R
Crazy how sometimes
Those are peas.
It's crazy how sometimes this is the amount of notes we'll take for one thing, and this is probably only like a quarter of it.
Alright, everybody about ready? Getting close?
halfway.
Halfway.
Just kidding, I'm done.
Okie dokie, artichoke. So, let's see if we can use that. This is one of those things, like I was saying, a lot of that stuff, where did it come from, you know? Do we need to spend our time going through proofs on all that? Or would we be better served just learning how to use it? We're just gonna learn how to use it, okay? So, I have x equals negative 1/8 y squared. So, we are going to graph it. We are gonna identify the focus, the directrix, and the axis of symmetry. Okay? Okay, so first off, what I want you to tell me is which variable is squared.
Why?
Okay, so that's what you wanna solve for. Now that's different than what we would do normally. Normally you wanna solve for the one to the first power. But so my y squared is being multiplied by negative 1/8, so we're gonna divide by negative 1/8.
Wait, so why are we writing 4? Is that just the variable?
No, you're gonna see, 4 is part, it's a constant in this, you're gonna see, slow down. Okay, so the negative 1/8s cancel out, gets me y squared equals, what is x divided by negative 1/8? What's dividing a fraction?
8x.
Close. It's got a negative, so it'll be negative 8x. Because remember, when you divide by a fraction, it's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, right? Now, look on that previous note page that you just copied, and here's what Christian was talking about. It said y squared equals 4px.
So A
Y equals negative 8.
Huh?
What?
No.
What'd you say? I don't know what you're talking about.
I said, does y equal negative 8?
No?
Y new y squared is something times itself. And then 8's multiplying, or negative 8 multiplying by itself. So,
Okay, you're off in left field right now. I'm gonna pull you
I'm
back.
using like,
I'm gonna pull you back. Okay, so right here on the bottom, the second line I copied, that's just the, like the standard form. You just wrote that down in your notes. So what we see is go left to right. I got y squared, y squared. Then over here on the far right, I got xx. So what I know is that negative 8 has to be the same as 4p, right? So I'm gonna say negative 8 equals 4p, and now I can figure out my p, which will tell me just about everything I need over there on the right side. What would I do to solve for the p?
Divide by 4.
Divide by 4. So my p is equal to negative 2. Now, you're looking at the y squared equals 4px. You're looking at that line, and it says that the directrix, I'm here on the directrix is x equals negative p. So look at what I just wrote. Does that make sense? My p is negative 2, and you wrote down a note that said the directrix equals negative p, so the opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. Get on that second line on the last screen we just wrote down.
I see it now.
Okay, now jump up here to the focus, and on the y squared line of the focus, it says your focus is p 0. Okay, we okay?
No, but yeah,
Why are you not okay?
I don't know,
Alright,
this is very confusing.
axis of symmetry, I'm just reading off of the chart I just told you to copy. Axis of symmetry is y equals 0.
So it's actually always been equal to 0 today.
But it'll either be y or x, depending on which way the parabola turns. Okay, so the last thing we have to do now is to graph that. So now I can look at that first page of notes that was the big mumbo jumbo looking thing, and I'm on the bottom right. Do you see why I'm on the bottom right on that big chart that was on when you came in the room with all the graphs? It's got y squared, those are the bottom two, and my p is negative, which means my p is less than 0. So that puts me on the bottom right. See that? So I know that my vertex is here, my focus, negative 2, 0, my directrix, x equals 2. Directrix is just that line. So my parabola would go here. That's it. We graphed it and we labeled all that junk. So the hardest thing to do was to figure out your p, and we figured out our p by doing negative 8 divided by 4. What's confusing is it's totally new and you're having to refer to notes, but we can do that. Right? He said, Now, could I get a more specific point on this parabola anyway?
no.
Yeah, I could just pick an x and plug it in and solve, right? I mean, like your normal input-output table always make, where I pick random x.
Negative 0, wasn't
Oh, get off of that. Alright, let's try another one of those. Let's try another one of those. Let's try another, where's my mouse? There it is. Alright, so this time I got y. Oh, I need to do one that's an up and down one. Let's do an up and down one.
Are we gonna do one that's gonna look like an X?
No, that's not a parabola.
That's a parabola.
Alright, I got x squared
2D.
equals negative 6y. X squared equals negative 6y. Okay, so we're gonna do the same things, graph, focus, directrix, and axis of symmetry. Okay, so which variable is squared? The x, so that shows me which line of that note to copy down.
So I don't have to do anything to it.
Right, it's already solved, so the parent form that we wrote said x squared equals 4py. So my y's line up, so I gotta use that negative 6 to solve for my p. So negative 6 equals 4p. Okay? Now, obviously this one's not gonna be a whole number, is it? Because to get the p by itself, we gotta divide by 4. So I got negative 6/4, which is the same as negative 3/2. Now with that negative 3/2, I can fill in the focus and the directrix. So get on your x squared line. Are you there? What does it say the focus is supposed to be?
0, 8.
No?
Oh, wait, oh,
Those
I'm
were
looking at the wrong
P's.
thing.
Well, those were p's.
0 P.
0p, so 0, negative 3/2. What does it say the directrix is supposed to be?
Negative P.
But is it x or y equals?
Y.
Y equals negative p, so what's the opposite of negative 3/2?
Half.
Positive 3/2, it's just, opposite just has to deal with sign. And then my axis of symmetry is x equals 0. Okay, so 0, negative 3/2 is the same as 0. I'm counting a couple, so I'm trying to get 1.5s in there. So 0 means move over 0, negative go down 1.5. So there's my focus. My directrix, y equals 3/2, so up 1.5. There's my directrix. My vertex is at 0, 0. Now, I could go to my chart and look and see which way this thing is supposed to turn, but here's what you need to know. The parabola like makes that umbrella shape, right? The umbrella always engulfs the focus, so it's never gonna attack the directrix. So if I try to draw this thing like a U, that would be wrong, because it would be attacking the directrix. So I gotta make it upside down to engulf the focus. And that's it.
I'm gonna call the directrix the axis perpendicular.
Okay.
Coach
It
Raj
makes-
is gonna
it
go
makes
ballistic
sense to
on
me.
one of us one of these days.
Okay, so let's look at one more type of problem where I give you the graph and we gotta write the equation. Go the other way, okay? I think that one you did a little bit better on. Did that make a little bit more sense the second try?
Yeah. Once you get to doing it and you see how it works, you can see.
It's the parabola.
We're doing the opposite one?
3.
That's what she just said.
Oh.
Okay, so that's all I got for you. And we wanna write the equation. So-
our directrix is at 0, negative.
Okay, slow down. Whew, Speedy Gonzales. Which, on your chart where you drew the 4 graphs, which one does this look like?
The
The first
one.
The top left, the first one, so it's gonna be in the form of x squared equals 4py.
P7. Oh, that's one of the very.
Okay, In our directrix, it says, if I look over on my other sheet of notes, my directrix, it says is y equals negative 3,
Y equals negative.
but it's supposed to be y equals negative p,
So
which means
3.
our p would be 3. So you already know the equation now.
Oh,
X squared equals 4
Wow.
times 3 times y, also known as x squared equals 12y. Good job, Christian. Yeah, that's it. You're trying to make stuff way too complicated. You need to try another one of them?
Yeah,
Okay?
might as well.
Yeah. I found my mouse there, it went.
X is negative 6.
What are you talking about, Willis? Sometimes you just say random stuff and I don't know what you're talking about.
He does it all the time. He also says incorrect stuff. Like angular is good.
Okay, so we need the equation.
Yeah, that's a terrible driver.
So how does it start? Which of the 4 sections of that chart does this one look like? The bottom right, so that is y squared equals 4px. Okay, now when it's y squared, it says your directrix is x equals negative p. So what is our, if x equals 3 is the directrix, what is our p?
Negative
Negative.
9/3.
Negative.
Well, that's correct as well. So now you got everything you need. Just plug it in. Y squared equals 4 times negative 3 times x, also known as negative 12x. Now,
I'm glad we stick to these.
well, and it's super duper easy when you got those notes to look at.
Yeah.
So you gotta stay organized, you gotta keep up with that. Some kid in 6th period yesterday was like, I don't know why you expect us to memorize all this. And I don't. I let you use your notes. It's more important to me that you know how to use stuff than it is for you to know how to memorize stuff. And she was like, well, what about on the ACT? And I said, good point, valid point, but we're trying to learn to be good problem solvers as we do this and give ourselves good plans on the ACT. Because this, I mean, if there's a focus or directrix problem on the ACT, there's only gonna be one. There's not gonna be a lot of that. Majority of the ACT is algebra and geometry. There's not, there was on the one we took for the juniors the other day, there was a little bit of trig, but it wasn't much. And we hadn't done our trig unit yet, so I felt bad for those juniors. But we will. I think it's coming in the 4th 9 weeks. But anyway, what we do in here in trig, and y'all did a little bit of trig in geometry also with the sine, cosine, that's enough to get those ACT questions right. You don't have to have a trig class. I mean, it doesn't hurt you to, but you don't have to. Okie dokie artichoke. So tomorrow,
Oh, that's it.
yeah, tomorrow is your virtual day, and I am giving you a short assignment tomorrow, but it's gonna be over the distance and midpoint that we did yesterday. There's only 6 questions on it, so make sure you do them.
Alright.
You good there, sir?
I'm thinking what we did yesterday.
Distance formula and midpoint formula. You wake up in a new little world every day.
I